What's up, everybody? First off, happy Memorial Day for everybody. I hope everybody's enjoying the day. Respect to all veterans, and I hope everybody had a nice day off from work if they had also. But as we got into Raw tonight, this was a tough one to get through. But then again, every Raw damn near tough to get through every week because of mostly bullshit going on. And they're from Greensville, South Carolina, which a lot of tonight this crowd was very dead out here. And kind of go back, which here's one thing I forgot about this show. This was a go-home show tonight, people. So this is a holiday show and a go-home show, which I didn't know was a go-home show. So I didn't know the pay-per-view was this Sunday. And we kicked it off with Miz and Maurice. Miz TV is Miz spoke about his title shot with Dean Ambrose this Sunday for the IC belt. And if Ambrose gets disqualified, he will lose the belt. Even though last week with the match against Elias Sampson, giving an example of it. But it's Miz, Brown, Sheamus, and Cesaro. They talked about how the Hardys stole their spotlight at WrestleMania. People chanted delete at them. And that the fans turned their backs on them when the Hardys showed up. And that, they're going to get those tag titles back now. As Miz said, he's going to get the Intercontinental title back now. So Dean Ambrose came out. And he came to the ring. And, Miz says Amber doesn't make the best decisions. You're really gonna come up here and get all three of us until the Hardys came out and all three of them came in and started jumping them, which pretty much came in a 6-man tag, which a lot of this match was very botchy, number one. It was really odd at some points where Miz looked really weird in this match. He did take a twist of fate right by Matt Hardy. He did. It was literally a swinging net breaker. Well, there was no twist of fate. That was a swing net breaker. Ambrose trying to get the tag, the hot tag. If he missed, I don't know if he was going for Matt's hand or Jeff's hand, but he missed Jeff Hardy's hand. I guess he was supposed to get the tag to him because I thought he was going for Matt, and Matt he just backed off, and Jeff just had to get the tag. He just tagged Jeff just because then. So it was really a very odd, somewhat botchy match out there. But those were two botches that I noticed out there that did that. Especially that twist of fate was just bad. That was really bad. Faces went over. We'll see what happens this Sunday. And as the announcer started talking, Corey Graves was looking at his phone until he said, sorry. He went back and talked to Kurt Angle as he showed him on his phone this news, this information, that could affect his status as a gold medalist, he says, that, cost him his job. And, people tell Graves things, and, he said he could help what he could. So it's really interesting. We don't know what the kind of dirt they got on Kurt Angle or where Graves is getting this information from, but it's interesting. I'll give that. It's interesting. Drifter there, Elias Sampson. He beat a jobber. He pretty much sang some song in the ring before he beat him. Like I said before, this crowd was dead tonight, number one. Nobody didn't react to this match. I don't think nobody gave a fuck throughout this match. And he didn't even get enough heat, if you ask me, because even after the song, fans just kind of sat on their hands. They didn't really boo, they didn't really say anything. They just were in silence. So, it was very, very, it was just really bad. I get the squash match and everything. We've seen this before, and I don't know. Some people think eventually Vince will just push him to the world title just because he's a big dude. And I'll say this: he had a really good match with Ambrose last week, but I don't know. This week is he had no reaction. He just had nothing because in NXT nobody gave him a shit about him in NXT. He sucked very badly in NXT, where I just don't think people gave a fuck about him. So. And I still don't know what will happen since they brought him up on Raw, but I don't know. The Drifter thing, I'm not the biggest fan of, so we'll just have to see what happens with that. But people just didn't care. I think people were just bored out of their minds. Samoa Joe was talking in the back until Bray Wyatt showed up talking about Joe then. And, he said, he's the devil that Joe doesn't know and stuff. as they did the triple threat match with Finn, Joe, and Wyatt, which was a really good match. I'll give it that. Joe kind of looked a little bit silly sometimes, kept trying to trust Bray Wyatt after Bray Wyatt repeated times betrayed him. And Finn Balor hit the coup de grace on Bray Wyatt, but Joe knocked him out of the ring, and he pretty much got the cover on Wyatt for the win. So, a really good match. Joe got the win, even though both him and Wyatt were jumping Finn Balor throughout most of the match. Finn looked like he was going to get it, but Joe won, but I don't think Joe's going to be winning on this Sunday, if you ask me. Excuse me, there's something in my throat right there. One match, and first off, I didn't know this was Sunday. A tag team match. The tag team match will be Noam Dar and Alicia Fox versus Rich Swann and Sasha Banks. And, I'm watching this match. It's Noam Dar versus Swann. This is a cruiserweight segment, folks. So, either it's me or Sasha Banks has been demoted to the cruiserweight division now. Because I don't know what they've done with Sasha Banks. I don't know why this is a tag match for this Sunday. I didn't know it was a tag match. I didn't know Rich Swann was the partner. And, the cruiserweight's already hard enough to look at. I swear this whole Noam Dar and Rich Swann feud has gone on for, I don't even know how long at this point. It's gone on for a very long time, to what I've heard. But Sasha being demoted, I feel like, to the cruiserweight. Because even, first off, it's odd enough she's losing to Alicia Fox. Clean, folks. Clean. 3-time women's champion at the top of her game, being pinned by pretty much a jobber, pretty much. And I heard, like I said, for Alicia Fox won record. I heard she hasn't won a match since 2015 till now. So, I'm sitting there looking at it like Sasha's really being demoted now, even losing matches and to Alicia Fox and being demoted to the cruiserweight division segments now. Come on. But Swann won. He hit the Phoenix Splash, which wasn't even on camera. And then Swann and Sasha did pretty much some dance in the ring, and that was it. But I guess the crowds may care a little bit like now. Sasha Banks being on 205 Live, I don't know what to say about that. That's just, if they're really trying to push this thing that badly, good luck to them, because 205 Live ain't shit to me. I don't even watch it, and even I hear it's gotten worse. So I just don't care. The only thing the exception out of Neville and Aries, but that's it. The Revival. After being back on TV, they're back, but they, 6 weeks, but they can't wrestle since, Dash Wilder, his jaw's been wired shut. He has a broken jaw from being an NXT house show. Some say, I believe Nakamura kicked his jaw off, which I wouldn't be surprised at. And they talked about the footage with Enzo saying we didn't attack him, but Caruso showed the footage that you guys did walk by last week. So you were in the building. But the Revival said we had nothing to do with this. And as then they went back to the announce team, talked about it. Graves said Cass has seen the footage until Big Cass pretty much came out and confronted Corey Graves and told him, listen, I looked at him as my little brother. Why would I attack him, huh? Why? Alright, and stuff. So, and he said Angel's investigating it, and, he knows Cass well, and they shook hands, and, he walked away, but Cass was pissed. Now, could Big Cass attack them? Maybe. Will this be the breakup of Enzo and Cass? Because they haven't won any matches lately, really anything. And, pushing Cass as a single star, making him this heel. And I've heard this from many people I know saying, they need to break these guys up. Cass needs to become a big star. I still think he's talked like a speaking spell, and he needs a mouthpiece in a way. So I don't know if they would push him into some top guy, which I could feel like would because he's big. But will they break them up? I don't know. Kalisto when he has Titus O'Neil, which Titus O'Neil really quick holding the tights and told Cruz to look at it. He said, Cruz, yeah, you held the tights, you held the tights. And stuff, so I don't know where they still go with Cruz and Titus O'Neil. I don't know. It's still an odd thing. Maybe he'll get over. Maybe. But I don't really think so, because Titus O'Neil is just, Alexa Bliss, this is probably one of the worst segments of this night. They tried to recreate the This Is Your Life thing with The Rock and Mick Foley. And this was bad. As Alexa Bliss came out, had all these, pictures and teddy bears and other pictures of wrestlers of the young Bailey and everything. She talked about Extreme Rules, and that Bailey couldn't pull the trigger with this whole kendo stick on a pole match. She couldn't do it last week also, which she got the what treatment, by the way, Bliss, as they chanted what, and held up a doll and said, "You been playing with this doll for years." And these people they had in this ring for this Is Your Life segment was very bad. Talk about Bailey's past, talk about Mrs. What was her name? Flapper or something. I don't know really and this whatever teacher taught that she was all had perfect attendance with her father always sat next door to her, and if her father went away she would cry. And then they talk about her friend Tracy, which they were friends, they did everything together, but she would rather watch Raw and SmackDown instead of being with her. And her ex-boyfriend or something, what's his name? Dude, this segment was so bad, I don't even remember the guy's name. Phil Johnson, which he looks like he couldn't even handle that ass of Bailey, if you ask me. And he said Bailey was a nice girl, but as they went on a date and stuff, her father was all there all the time and said that he pretty much kissed her father and stuff nearly, and he pretty much told the Tracy girl that he dated Bailey get close to her. And then they ended up making it. Listen, this segment was horrible. Okay, this segment was just bad. And dude, this is all creative. And I guess Alexa Bliss tried to make this the best out of it. And again, I just don't think, I think it was almost bad on everybody's part. People chanted delete, which this whole segment should have been deleted, maybe Raw itself. And this is boring chants. This segment was bad. This was very bad. Like, this wasn't even near Rock or Mick Foley. It wasn't even that funny. It just felt very lame jokes. And the phony friends and the teacher was bad in the random makeout session. And it was very bad. I don't know what this accomplished, but it's nowhere near on the Rock and Foley's level. So this is all on creative, and it's not really on Alexa Bliss right here. It's like I said, she tried to do now, and I've seen people on the internet today. Most everybody shit on this whole segment, and there's some people on the internet say that Alexa Bliss gave an A+ performance, or that was a funny segment. That was a really funny segment. She was great, and like that. I've said this before. I think people be overhyping the fuck out of that girl on the internet. They overhype the hell out of her. Like she can do no wrong. That segment was bad. That was very bad. But Bailey did come out, which at least got a better reaction, and she tried to go after Alexa Bliss, and she was going to get the kendo stick off the pole, but Bliss knocked her down, and she pretty much took the kendo stick from under the table and then hit Bailey with it one time and held up the title. But overall, that whole This Is Your Life segment was very bad. This was just a horrible segment. The crowd didn't care, and they turned on it. Enzo was beat up again, as Cass asked him what he's going to do about it, and he says, Revival left the building, and, but Kurt's worried about his, job or whatever is going to happen to him. But, what is this, 2 or 3 weeks now, Enzo's been laid out, or 2 weeks, really. Who's taking him out? So, could Cass take him out? I don't know. For the 15th time in this match, no, not necessarily, 15th time, I don't know how many times this match has happened, but Austin Aries and Jack Gallagher versus Neville and TJP. Good God, how many times have we seen this match? I'm surprised the crowd didn't hijack it or throw another beach ball again. Which was an okay match, but this match has happened so many times, who cares? But this is a go-home show, so Aries was able to get the last chancery on Neville and win the match to make him tap out. But we've seen this match so many times, like, come on. Even somebody on our Twitter told me tonight it would have been better if they had singles one-on-one matches to showcase their submissions. Not do the same tag match for almost, 10, 15 times now that nobody cares about. So, yeah. Roman Reigns then was interviewed in the back, talking about Seth Rollins, we're best friends, work enemies. Nobody doesn't know me. I'm the big dog. This is my yard. Roman Reigns. I don't know sometimes with this guy. Who cares? We already always get booed out the building. We'll get to the whole main event thing in a minute. But Goldust, Shattered Dreams Productions, once again back in the director's chair, bringing that old school Goldust back, talking about this will be R-Truth's curtain call and stuff, and that the Golden Truth will be over, and we see the crescendo this Sunday, as it would not be a happy or sad ending. Until Truth had his own little director's thing, graphic, and, you know, we talked about the movies. He had his own director's chair. And he watched movies where he could escape from. He talked about movies. He had a 1970 movie, I feel like, a Shaft, Dolomite, and Julius Whitfield. And he says, I'm a bad mother, shut your mouth. But he's going to shut Goldust's mouth this win, which pretty much they never really announced they had a match this Sunday. But like I said, Raw, they got to add random matches to Extreme Rules this Sunday just because I didn't know that tag match with Sasha and Swan was happening. But Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins was the main event. It wasn't a bad match, but which I'm surprised it was a clean win. First off, that whole Finn Balor thing still made no sense to me. A 50% Roman Reigns beat a 100% Finn Balor. But him versus Seth was a good match. I'll give it that. Crowd was into it. Seth tried to go for that knee finisher, but Reigns dodged it, hit the spear, and pinned him clean, which some thought it would have been everybody coming out and brawling with each other. But will Roman Reigns win this Sunday? I don't know, really. I have no idea if he will or if he won't. I got no clue. So, yeah, some looking as the obvious choice, really. But, I don't know, him being in the clean win, I'm not sure. We already know he gets booed out the building most of the time because, it's Roman Reigns just because. But I'll say it was a good match. But, yeah, they're going to do what they can to make Roman Reigns look strong as he can even this Sunday. To make him look strong. And, as for Extreme Rules this Sunday, like I said, these pay-per-views just come like hotcakes, and in Baltimore and stuff. And I look at this Fatal 5-Way. Who do I see winning? Some say Finn Balor, but in my mind, on paper it sounds good. Finn Balor versus Brock in a way, wherever this Great Balls of Fire thing. But I already know in my mind, I can see how this match is gonna go out. It's gonna be Brock throwing Finn all over the place and suplexing him everywhere. Because I don't know if Finn will get a lot of work in, moves and stuff. So everybody said that he would kill Finn Balor on Sunday. Or not Sunday, if he wins this match. Yeah, so everybody else like Samoa Joe or Seth Rollins could be better because Seth has been working his ass off. Roman is just the obvious choice. Bray Wyatt, I just can't believe in Bray Wyatt most of the time. Like, dude, you just lost that very horrible feud with Randy Orton. Joe is a dark horse, but I don't see them going for that either. So this Fatal 5-Way thing is very confusing, and it's just, I'm not really sure you can determine who wins. So I'm just going to say Roman just because, Raw was just kind of there tonight. Other than the triple threat in the Roman versus Seth match, there was a lot of bad stuff on this show, okay? Like, they didn't really hype this pay-per-view well for Sunday. You forget this was a go-home show, and this was a go-home show, but it was a very bad show too, and I just kind of fell off throughout half the time. The 6-man was okay, but it was just very botchy. That This Is Your Life segment was very, very bad. What else was bad? Yeah, that was like one of the worst things that happened on there. Noam Dar, I don't know where they announced Swans. I feel like Sasha's been demoted. Kalisto Titus on there, I just don't know. What else was bad? I guess the mystery of who beat up Enzo. The same tag team match with Aries and Gallagher, and never with T.J. Perkins for God knows how many times now. But, one of the worst things tonight was that This Is Your Life segment. I just don't know what they were thinking with that, but that was just bad. That was very bad. And, they wonder why the ratings keep going down. This is even on the NBA playoffs just because of the bullshit most of the time. They've been doing that. You can't really blame the NBA playoffs. That's why the ratings have been really going low. And, maybe I'll do a prediction video of everything that's going to happen this Sunday at the pay-per-view from the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro, which the Hardys have not really lost a match ever since they came back and even beat them singly also. So they may just lose the titles this Sunday because they won every match ever since they came back to the WWE. Uh, Darn Fox versus Swan and Sasha. Just give Sasha the win so she can just get out of this thing, get back in the title picture. So just give it a win. But then it's Baltimore with Swan from there. You know that whole we gotta make people lose their hometown deal. So you know how that works. But you know it wasn't much on the show. It just had its here, there, whatever type of deal. You know that's all you can really say from it. It's not much to speak on and stuff. But hey, this was my Raw review. I'm out of here. I hope everybody, like I said, I hope everybody had a really good Memorial Day weekend. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Stay safe out there. Comment, subscribe, check out live reactions, everything. Check out footage I had from Backlash from the week before. I was at the show last week, so I had a really good time. Please check out my live reaction to that and review. And I'm gonna be out here. Peace out. Hey, just enjoy your review. Peace out, guys.